wonderful. To me, the Flurry is indescribably delicious. Where else can you go and find so much?
All these people here, they just love it. I mean, people just gravitate to these kinds of dance events. They love it. And live music.
The participants come from all over the country, and some come from overseas. Not too many, but seems like every year we have a few people that come from Europe or other continents. This year I ran into some people at one of the dances who were here from Colorado, and they said, "Oh, we're going to come back every year."
We've had people from California, a large group from Michigan, some people down from Canada, New York City. I'm sure even farther than that. It's quite renowned.
I think one of the unique things about the Flurry is counting out a lot of local talent. Again, it's been my mission to bring in local people.
Every year I see someone I haven't seen in 30 years.
I go and I hug my way through. It's like a huge reunion. I see people I only see once a year at the Flurry.
And then there's just bringing people together for a joyous time in the middle of the winter.
I just look out at the faces, and the joy is written there, and it fills me with joy. It's really nice.
It's a wonderful way to meet people. It's physically, it's exercise, it's culture, it's a lot of things wrapped together. For one, mainly it's pure fun. It's pure fun.
It's a celebration of both our past and present and our future.
It's a very important cultural and arts event, and it just makes people happy and enjoy each other.
Must be people like to dance. Must be. Yeah.
The opportunity to be around thousands of people who truly love dance. You know, that's what it's about. You know, that networking and just walking down the street knowing that there are other people that are there to dance. And it doesn't matter what they look like and what their shapes and sizes are. They just love to dance. And that's why they're out there. And Saratoga's beautiful.
Mona Lisa, strangeness in your style. Do you smile to tempt the lover?
I keep thinking, how are we ever going to outdo this year? And we continue to outdo the year before. It's quite a challenge.
It's quite a monumental job to put this together.
All you have to do is follow Paul Rosenberg around for like 2-3 days before the Flurry, and as I have done a number of times, and your head spins. I mean, there's just so much going on, so much to do.
Paul and Pat, Paul Rosenberg, Pat Melita, they're the main organizers, and they have a wonderful committee of volunteers, and they do all the work. Mostly it's the same people, and they do always try to bring in new people. That's how you perpetuate this, and it couldn't happen without volunteers. It absolutely couldn't. First of all, the variety. I mean, as far as I know, there is nowhere that you can get this much variety. Nowhere. They had the best teachers and callers, and all wonderful live music. Everything is done to live music, and that's very important for us, the Hudson Mohawk traditional dance. And I think that's what attracts people, just the caliber of what's offered. It's excellent, yeah. I'm so impressed with some of those teachers.
continues to grow, and I think it's growing in very good ways, organically like a tree rooting deeper into the soil and spreading out many different branches.
A lot of my time would be, free time would be spent jamming. I'm not a dancer. I'd like to learn, but I get dizzy easy, and I found that the Flurry offered a lot just for musicians.
What I love is listening to all the music. You turn a corner and there's more music. That's really fun.
Last night, just out of curiosity, I took the 2004 program grid, and I started counting how many different kinds of dance were offered, and I got to 30, and I probably missed a couple. But I thought, this is so unique.
Oh, well, some of the dancers that I met, they're wonderful. Some are very good dancers. Those that I've talked to are very enthusiastic about what they're doing, and they're enjoying themselves, and I think that's the most important part, is to dance and enjoy what you're doing.
The Flurry is definitely my favorite festival that I go to or that I have gone to over the years, because the Flurry is so open. It's really on the cutting edge of this type of folk community, because they're open to trying all these different types of dance forms, not just the traditional stuff that like have been at folk festivals forever. They're, for a few years now, they've been trying to be more inclusive and bringing in different hip hop things and bringing in this and that, and it's just, it's really inspiring.
B-boys rock the world, B-girls rock the world, come on, B-boys rock the world, B-girls.
I've had such great times over the years playing with all these different musicians there. We've had some fabulous music, both on the main stage and on some of the other stages, and in the music hall.
In between things, I can go hear other people or sit around and have a jam session. That's a nice thing, too, all the jam sessions that are going on all over.
You can have 7 or 8 different jams going at once. You'll have an old-timey jam in one corner, and about 6 steps away you might have an Irish jam happening, and there could be anywhere from 2 people to 15. And that goes on all hours. It goes into 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes. But even in that glass hallway on the way to the pavilion, you'll find a little cluster of musicians playing. And we have heard, and I've talked to musicians who say they come only for that. They come from Massachusetts and Vermont, and they come to just sit in with other musicians and to learn and to share the joy of the music.
The thing about the Flurry is that, everybody comes together, and essentially you have all these people from all over the place saying, look what I have been doing, or I hear that you got this new tune, or I hear you've got a new instrument, I hear you now have drums in your band. There's just all these ways that you get all the stuff together in one place, and it's like being in some kind of giant chemistry laboratory.
Also learning style, where you're in a smaller, tighter group, you can hear what somebody's doing, and to pick up from, say, somebody who plays something differently, in a different style from Vermont versus Western New York or Pennsylvania or something. So you get style variety, and to me that's important to me because I like to expand what I know. So as a musician, the jamming is incredible.
Actually, the music hall is my favorite Flurry place to play these days because it's such a nice wooden room and all that.
Personally, I feel like it's a very wonderful thing that brings a lot of people together, enables a lot of musicians who really are from totally different backgrounds to have a really great time together and have experiences that you just cannot get in your living room or in your local bar. The Flurry enables all those experiences to happen. And people, they're very important to people, and they'll make big sacrifices to be able to share them.
You start dancing and everything's clicking between the music and the people and everything, and it's this great way to sort of be in the moment and feel good.
I'm visiting with people and talking to people. I dance if I can. I sing. My band performs, and I teach swing dance and teach country western dance and spend a lot of time doing business.
We've been going together since first grade. Really? No, was it second grade? I don't know. I tell them definitely to come because we really liked it when we were younger too.
Yeah. Sometimes you can just go and just dance around in the rooms. You don't have to follow along with anything, really.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Well, I really like it because there's always music and I was just totally happy.
This is my first year. Mm-hmm. And this is my 12th year, I think. Wow. She's an old timer. I love it. I love it. It's just so many things going on, and people come up with all different kind of questions and lost and found items, and it just, even if you can't help them and you're really trying hard to try to help them, if you just give them a smile and let them know that there's someone out there that can answer their questions, they're very appreciative. It's just been it's been a wonderful weekend. So.
This is Eli's first Flurry. He came last year, but he wasn't born yet. Amy was 7 months pregnant at the time. So this is the first one where he's been on the outside. I really love it. It's really one of the most fun things of the year, especially happening in the winter as it is.
Cold outside, it's freezing and snow and all this stuff, and here we are dancing, and there's these people running around in shorts and t-shirts, and and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It really brightens up the season.
I dance the rest of the year, but this is the time when I can really wear myself out, which I did last night. As soon as I get done here at my booth, I'm going to go listen to the reggae and the soca.
And the first 2 years I volunteered as a shadow to the director, Paul Rosenberg. I had a great time and thought I wanted to be more involved. So this year I'm a staff member and I volunteered to help with fundraising.
I like to do sound, work with the sound crew. The last few years since they've had the professionals on all the boards, it's mostly helping out and some of the really small venues. Like this year I'm working at the museum.
We had the buttons produced and the fun meters I had seen at the Humor Project in Saratoga Springs and had a great time with those, so we had custom fun meters made. So you can say, I'm still at work, or I'm on my way to the Flurry, or I'm dancing, so you can set it up to max.
I've always been in information. About 4 years ago, I turned to the bagel queen. So I get the bagels for the performers every Saturday and Sunday morning, which I love. Thank you. Yes. People love me. I love doing it. It's great. Yeah. And then I close this place down every Sunday.
If I dance a bunch, I usually it's in the smaller settings. So I tend to go down to the music hall to dance because I really like the ambiance, and the wood floor is a big plus. It's one of my few chances to dance English.
We'll probably do some more contra dancing and catch some of the things. I think there might be a Tai Chi thing somewhere at some point. I might be interested in that. And it's just a lot of fun. It's really great dancing with a bunch of people. Learned some Brittany dancing, which was a lot of fun. So all kinds of stuff. Actually, the first time I ever did Tai Chi was here.
I just spend that whole weekend thinking how lucky I am. I lie there in my bed and I hear somebody snoring away, and not that far away, and somebody's stumbling around to go to the bathroom at 4 in the morning, and I don't care. I feel like I'm really, really lucky that I get to be part of that. I think a lot of other musicians feel the same.
Saturday night is always a highlight for me. To call to that many people at one time, it's a real buoying effect. Yeah.
One other thing about the Flurry that makes it different, when we pay people, we're able to get more diversity.
A lot of the other festivals don't take as good care of them.
As an artist myself, I feel like artists should be paid whenever possible. It's a philosophical thing.
The Flurry for me is a highlight of the year. And Flurry, no matter what happens, I will be there because it just lifts me so and gives me such affirmation. Everybody likes a little warm fuzzy once in a while, so that's where I get my warm fuzzies.
Having chances to do some of the old dances, both as a caller and player and as a dancer, and I like being able to do and hear and watch and get a taste of where things might be going.
It was the first time that Baba called this new thing, which is a hip-hop contra dance, which it was just so amazing. Like, I've grown up and now I'm an adult and I'm bringing this new idea back, and people are enjoying it.
I would say that I've really enjoyed hearing some of the experimentation with rock music and with electric instruments, tunes that have really unexpected melodies and chord progressions, people trying different rhythms. And as I say, I don't like them all by any means, but I like the fact that the Flurry gives me an opportunity to experience them. I still feel like I'm always trying something a little bit different every single time. And we don't have to sit around and bow and scrape to the old legends all the time. We can go off and test new waters, and that's what I think some of those kids are doing.
And what have you done so far today?
Zydeco.
Yeah. How was that?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I had never done anything like it. And then we just went to go watch a hambo class, or hambo class. But, yeah. I like to come because we get to do all different kinds of stuff that you would never do anywhere else.
It's such a wonderful festival that people are just on this natural high for the weekend, and they're just like, all the endorphins from dancing, they're just excitable, and definitely a wonderful place to perform. The feedback is great.
I feel I want this Flurry to be here for me, and it's put on by volunteers. It's hundreds of volunteers make this possible, and so I feel I can't sit back and say, I'm just going to come and dance and count on there always being other people to volunteer.
Yeah, we love being in Saratoga. The town has been wonderful to us. When you walk down the street, all the stores have signs welcoming Flurry participants. The first year we were here, I'd go into stores and say, hi, with the Flurry, how's it going? And they said, oh, it's wonderful. People come in, they're laughing, they're smiling, they're singing, it's great. I said, and how are you doing for sales? Oh, we haven't sold much, but it's great having the people come in. And then so the Friday and Saturday people are looking around, Sunday they go in and buy, and it's just so great here. People in the city center are wonderful, people in the Prime are wonderful, and just the whole town welcomes us, and we're really glad to be here.
On Saturday night in the main hall, I was the second caller to go up, so I was back behind the curtains waiting, and the mayor arrived with Paul, and he was going to say a few words. So I introduced myself, and we chatted for a couple of minutes, and he said, I've never come in before. And he said, I looked around me, and he said, how many people would you say are here on the floor? And I said, well, I'm not so good at judging numbers, but between 400 and 500 at that moment. And he said, but look, where can you go to see so many faces smiling, enjoying themselves? He said, where can I have a venue this size with no police and evidence? He said, this is so unheard of. I said, you bet your life it is. We're just a large group of people having a wonderful time.
The dance flurry in and of itself is such an institution, but in Saratoga Springs it has truly become an annual tradition. And I'll tell you, in my other life, I'm also a small business owner in downtown Saratoga Springs, and I have residents come in for months talking about the anticipation of the dance flurry coming to Saratoga Springs. So I can tell you that I'm sure there are many local folks out there, but we appreciate it as much as those of you that are visitors to our community do. We love to have you come here.
I was riding to something called the Dawn Dance in Brattleboro, Vermont, and I was an avid contra dancer at the time. It was 1987, probably. I think it was a Labor Day Dawn Dance, and a woman named Nancy Greta was in the car with me having a long conversation about how the Old Songs Winter Dance Fest, which happened one year in 1986, was almost going to happen again in 87, and nobody was willing to be in charge of it. And so it didn't happen. So Nancy told me about this situation. She said, Paul, why don't you put on a festival in the winter? And I said, Nancy, you're crazy. And then I danced all night, about 9 or 10 hours, and I ended up changing my mind as on the trip back, or no, probably a few days later after I slept on it. I thought, well, this could be an interesting festival. I could make a one-day festival in which we could highlight local performers and have a few of the bigger name people come in from out of town, and it would be a culmination of my regular contra dance series, which was twice a month in Schenectady, which highlighted local performers. So this would just be in sort of a 1-year anniversary or so. So little did I know what it would end up being.
17 years ago now, isn't it? It started in a middle school down outside of Albany. I think it was in Guilderland. The principal wasn't really sure. She wanted, people are afraid of what they don't know. And the thought of that many people converging in her school and, maybe doing damage, which of course has never happened.
Yeah, it barely happened. We had, we teamed it up with a Friday night contra dance sponsored by the 8th Step Coffee House. And we had the biggest snowstorm of the season.
Naturally.
Yes. And people barely made it to the dance. We thought there'd be 100, 150 people at the 8th Step dance. There was maybe 60 or 70 that braved through the 8 or 9 inches of snow in the predicted 2-foot snowstorm. I remember the predictions. I said, oh, it has to happen to me. But it was a good dance. And then the next morning, the The storm had ended overnight, and the next morning we started our festival at, I think, 10 a.m. and went till maybe midnight, and had about 300 people attend, about 30 performers, 25 volunteers or so. And the performers were headlined by Jay Unger and Molly Mason. And we had a bunch of contra dancing and swing dancing. A little bit of swing dancing. It was just getting popular at the time. We had some international folk dancing, some Scandinavian dancing. And we had just a few venues. We had one big gym and one small gym, and then a large classroom. And then there's one room where we had discussion type sessions and music workshops.
Actually, the Flurry started with local callers and musicians. And they considered local anyone within an hour radius, which I was. So I've been on staff at every one of the 17 Flurries. It's a joy.
I think I wanted to have an event like that every year, a one-day festival. I probably thought, well, maybe it'll eventually become a two-day festival, but let's see how the one-day festival worked out. And it was wildly successful, and it was pretty crowded. And people afterwards said, you know, we could use a bigger space and we could use an extra day. And that one thing led to another. So that first year was at the Westmere Elementary School, and the second year we moved to the Farnsworth Middle School, which was also the same location where Old Songs held their one festival in 1986. And Farnsworth worked out great for us until 1994.
And one year, and I'm not sure how many years ago this was, about 3 weeks before the Flurry, they had a flood at the school, and the gym floor was flooded, and it warped. So they called and said, you can't use the school. And it was like, oh my God, panic time. You know, tickets were sold, everything was done. So they scurried and found the Saratoga site, and that was to just be a stopgap, just for that year. But it was so well received and gave us so many more venues to use than just a school, which usually has 2 gyms and then some small rooms. And the people in Saratoga, of course, loved having all that business in the middle of February. And so we stayed, and the rest is history. We just take over the whole city, and it's wonderful.
Well, we didn't add the Friday night for a few years because we continued to team up with 8th Step, and maybe at some point we ended up not being the same weekend as the 8th Step Contra Dance, so we said, okay, let's just make the whole weekend the Flurry.
Let's see, I used to do different workshops. I used to play like Leadbelly songs and Uncle Dave Macon songs in workshops and stuff, and that was kind of fun, but I'm also actually happier doing just fiddle workshops and stuff like that. I remember the first Flurry that my wife, well, she wasn't my wife yet, Pat, and we just kind of were inseparable at that Flurry. We kind of were glued together at Flurry, and that was pretty fun.
I got involved because Gene came here one year, and I think we were kind of going out at the time, and I said, oh, I'd like to try that. And once I got here and realized what it was, I was hooked.
Actually, this was at the old Flurry back at the Farnsworth School that, I can remember having a number of moments of musical ecstasy, just playing with all these people and getting in this great groove and just playing this great music. And it was very, very satisfying and fun.
So I started coming to the Flurry after going to the other contra dances, and people encouraged me to come and volunteer. So a lot of years I've volunteered doing different things. Some years I haven't volunteered just because I wanted to spend the whole time dancing.
I think it was a Sunday afternoon dance with Bruce Rosen. That was great. It was just the 2 of us playing in the music hall, and we could hear each other real well. The sound was great, and people were having a good time dancing, and that was very satisfying. Also hanging out with Bob McQuillan. Oh yeah, having jam sessions with Bob McQuillan in the hall.
The most favorite thing for me is to play jam sessions with George Wilson. And we seem to have a little thing about sitting up out in the hallway out there at the table. And I have a rather nice little accordion that I like to play pretty well. And he brings his fiddle, of course, and the two of us sit there and we have a marvelous time. This year we were joined by a fellow named David Kipper, who plays banjo. And but last year was the first time, I guess, we have done this particular thing, and we had a wonderful time. We had a wonderful time this year too, but I like it really well to play with George Wilson when I get a chance. No matter what the excuse or with whom or whatever, as long as he's involved, I'm a very happy person.
I don't think I've missed a Flurry since the beginning of when I started coming. It's become like a real highlight of our year, and Russell started saying, only 10 more months to the Flurry, you know? We're like looking forward to next year.
And I've had some really great late night music with Beth Robinson she plays cello. She's sort of one of my musical soulmates, even though we only get together about twice a year.
And it was late and I was tired, but it was very satisfying.
I think my favorite late night playing with Beth was the year that they had the big snowstorm on Friday, and everybody in the bar wanted to go home early because they didn't know if they were going to make it home. And we wound up playing out in the hotel lobby.
There are some very, very talented piano players there. My style is old-fashioned New England. Its original name is called boomchuck, or at least that's its nickname maybe. The left hand does the boom and the right hand provides the chord to go along with it, one right after the other. But it's what I do, and I learned it from Ralph Page's piano player, Johnny Trombley, way back in the 40s, and I've been doing it ever since.
I like to kind of be a face in the crowd when someone like Bob McQuillan is talking about, 50 some odd years of playing piano for dances. And I remember being in the crowd when there was a, I guess I'd call it a round robin or a round table discussion or something involving McQuillan, Bill Spence, a few of the other real kind of old timers, long-standing, pillars of the music and dance scene. And some of the kids. So like Andrew and Noah Van Nostrand were there, and some of the young Hudson Valley players, and they were all there in one room sharing stories, and it was just terrific to be just a fly on the wall for that.
And there's a friend of mine, a dear friend of many years, as is George, named Donnie McLean. He's a wonderful fiddler from south of the Flurry area, and playing with him is a big deal because Donnie McLean and I go back to the Fox Hollow days, and we did dances there at Fox Hollow. He played the fiddle and I played the piano there, and he's a wonderful, wonderful fiddler and a delightful person, and a very dear friend. And so when I go to the Flurry and get a chance to play with Donnie McLean, that's a very big deal with me, just because of the ties with the past that are so happy.
I was one of the most dance-phobic people you'd ever know. I was so dance-phobic that when I was in 7th and 8th grade, we'd have to go to our junior high school dances, and I would hide at the sidelines drinking Coca-Cola with my friend. Any chance I had to dance, I would hide. And that had continued into adulthood. What I used to do, this was my modus operandi, I'd hide in a bathroom. That's what I did. And so I like to give that as an example when people say, oh, I can't dance, or I'm too scared or shy to dance. I tell them that if I could do it, anybody can.
I recognize it as a way to meet some people. A friend was a dancer and brought me to a dance, and I liked contra dancing, and then the next thing you know, the Flurry came up, and it was amazing. My first Flurry, I danced nonstop from Friday night till about 7 o'clock on Saturday evening. I danced every contra dance, and then I was exhausted. Of course, I was a little bit younger and probably in better shape then, but so exhausted that I hit the wall.
Eventually, I met up with a woman who was into contra dancing. she told me about how much fun the contra dances are, and I told her about my experiences with dance. She said, no, this is different. It's just basically walking to music. The music is really great. You're going to love the music. You're going to love the people. These are the people, the earthy people that you like to hang out with. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. And I went, I think it was February of 1981 that I went to my first dance, and people were having such a good time, and I felt like, oh my God, I'm gonna mess everybody up. So I made her dance every dance with me.
And when you get all those people together, then you throw in a snowstorm or, a presidential election or a new war or whatever's going on in the world is an ingredient. Imagine if something really great was happening in the world, that would be an ingredient. I mean, it is kind of hard to imagine that, but someday it'll happen.
Most people were smiling the whole time and having such a good time that, it was really infectious. I loved the music, people having such a good time. I felt like, well, I must be messing them up, which I hear comments from other people about that all the time that are scared to dance. And the other thing was this one or two people who seemed to be angry when I wasn't in the right place at the right time. So I shied away from the dances for a long time, and I decided I'm gonna just learn to dance all night, and I'll get good at it. And I was hooked. I just fell in love with it and started going to every dance I could possibly go to after that. And it really changed my life. I never thought that I'd be a dancer, and now I'm doing dance as my profession. I'm now full-time involved with dance, either as a dance caller or teacher or organizer.
On some level, I really long for those days in Guilderland when things were much smaller. But I do like the energy. Sometimes for me it's a bit overwhelming. There is so much happening. But I can't see a year where I'm not here. So even with all of that, I still long to be here. It's a great opportunity to visit with friends and to meet with people I don't see but sometimes once a year. And the Flurry provides me with an opportunity to do that.
Well, the calling started because I like entertaining. And I'd go to the dances and I'd watch the callers and the bands, and I just said, boy, that looks like fun. And I also felt badly that the callers that would come in from out of town were not paying attention to the beginners. A lot of the callers would call for the experienced dancers, and the beginners were languishing and having a really hard time. And I thought, well, here's a mission for me. I'm gonna become a caller and help the beginners, and also work dances in so that the experienced people will have fun and everything will work great. So, and I just talked to a lot of experienced callers, one of whom was David Kaner, who is so encouraging of me. I don't know if I'd be a caller today if not for David's encouragement of me.
We came up with like 5 dancers and a DJ and Baba Israel, who is an amazing MC. He's the musical director of the project and also my fiance. So we brought up him. He also plays didgeridoo and he beatboxes. We had 2 fiddle players the first time we did it and a DJ. And it was a piece of choreography that we showcased, and we did a workshop, and that was an overwhelming success.
The highlight of this Flurry was actually performing last night. It isn't always the highlight, but this year there was something really magical about last night. I had a wonderful time.
But then we wanted this year to actually have the world's first hip-hop contra dance, be able to have people do it, because the first year we just showed a chunk of choreography and then like taught people, but we were like, okay, this year, and we did, and Baba called it, And so here is this hip hop artist, this MC, calling a contra dance, and that was really amazing. And it's something that had been in my head for a long time, and to see it actualized.
I started taking music lessons because I'd never played a musical instrument. So I learned to play recorder so that I could understand music a little bit, since it's very helpful to understand music if you're going to call dances. And then I fell in love with playing music.
I brought her probably 5 years ago. She was just 5 or 4 years old, and we came in a snowstorm, and we had a great time.
And we found a parking place.
I know we did swing dance. Today we did Guatemalan folk dance, right? Guatemalan. Yes, it was in the international section. It was nice steps, swinging, and there was a drum. It was great. What else did we do? Oh, we did Zydeco. Yeah. That's one of our favorites.
Some event, I don't remember when and where it was, but I ended up doing a children's family dance, and I had the time of my life. I never thought that I could do it, and I didn't have much repertoire, but it was a whole different experience. And as time went by, I gravitated more towards the family dances and towards being a caller more for people's milestone events. Family dances and parties and weddings is an amazing experience.
I feel like all of that stuff influences the ingredients. And, you know, I mean, for better or for worse, some of them are painful. You know, like almost every year somebody that mattered to somebody has died or gotten ill or moved away, or, you know, there's been some kind of a transition that really had an impact on some element of the Flurry attendance. And that's an ingredient too. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe it would be a good one this year. I mean, it's anybody's guess. What are we going to be talking about on the way to the Flurry in the year 2005? Well, it has grown. I mean, it used to take place in basically a couple of gyms and a few classrooms in this kind of, you know, basic 1950s, 1960s suburban elementary school. And now it consumes this enormous amount of space in downtown Saratoga Springs.
The very first year, we had contra dancing, swing. We did have Cajun. We had Scandinavian. We had squares, African. Having the extra gyms, we had 3 gyms. We were able to have a lot more contra dancing. And I don't remember whose idea it was. It was probably my idea because I was a contra dance fanatic back then. I thought, well, we could have contra dancing all day long somewhere in one of the gyms, or, you know, move it from gym to gym, but we can always have a contra dance going. So, and it's my favorite type of dancing, and it's what drew us all into this. So we had contra dancing all the time. We added more Scandinavian dancing, more swing dancing, and we got a little bit more diverse. And we also had a stage there, so we were able to have a dance performance or 2 during that weekend, and that went very well.
I don't know what the numbers are, but I suspect that the number of people who get to have good gigs at the Flurry has grown enormously. The number of people that get to have those experiences that I was just talking about has grown a lot. I don't know what the attendance numbers are, but they've got to be like enormous in comparison to the early days.
We had more music workshops. That's the other thing. As time went on, we added more and more music and callers workshops for musicians and dance callers, and that's something that didn't take for a while. It took a few years till people started attending them, and that has been one of the things I'm the proudest of, is seeing how many musicians are now coming. What is the dance world without live music? So, and what's been amazing to me is seeing all the jam sessions that are happening. and it took a long time to develop, to get people feeling comfortable enough that they would just actually, some of them would spend the whole weekend just sitting in the hallways jamming.
The tutorials we just added a couple of years ago. Yeah, they're relatively new, and it was such a good idea. I was scheduled to do a tutorial at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and I said to Jane Rothfield, who was going to play, I said, who's going to come for a beginner session at 2 o'clock? The Flurry's almost over. Well, I had a room full of people who just wanted to go to that final dance, and says, oh my God, I've got a crowd of people here.
Well, we always had beginner sessions, but not in the small room like the 101 type things we added 4 or 5 years ago. It was actually, I think it was David Kaner's idea, and David Kaner has been coming to the Flurry since year 2 as one of our featured callers and musicians. And one day he said, you know, Paul, you could have sessions going all day long where we could have different callers or instructors teaching people 20 or 30 people at a time how to contra dance, and just give them the confidence they need so they don't have to do it in a big room session, and they don't have to have a full band playing. You can have maybe just a fiddler, and it's worked out really well.
Yeah, it's just too bad that more people don't just bring all of their children here. It's a wonderful way to get them interested in the arts at an early age, and it's such a fun activity for them. You just see them smiling and having a great time with all of the music, and it gets them a real good start early on.
I guess it also reflected my own personal growth, and in which I decided that I liked working with children myself, and I also felt that it was a missing element of the festival. I think about a lot of festivals that I go to, and how just about any festival that I enjoy has family activities. I think we added a couple of things by year 2 or 3, and then gradually expanded on that, and now again it's something I'm really proud of, to see how well received the family program is. And not only that, but the teenager programming, that was a big challenge, because then we got the families coming, and that was great, up to age 9 or 10, maybe 11. And then from about age 12 or 13 on, we had virtually nobody coming. So I worked at that, got a lot of advice from people in that age group and people who work with people in that age group. And a couple of key events happened. Number one is teenagers were getting into swing dancing, and we were having a lot of swing dancing at the Flurry. So more and more teenagers were showing up just for the swing dancing.
I think what has amazed me as I look around is the greater number of teenagers and 20-somethings. Often at festivals you get like the little kids that come with their parents, and then once they hit a certain age they say, oh, I'm not going there, and they take off. But this year we really got a larger group of people that are in their 20s and their late teens that are here for the swing, for the hip-hop, for even some of them are contra dancing. So it's just really wonderful to see the age spread. I've seen older people, a greater number of older people, a greater number of kids. It's just a much nicer age spread.
The other thing that was, I think, helped to bring us more teens was the Vanover Caravan. They have a lot of teenagers dancing with them. It's a wonderful dance troupe from the Mid-Hudson Valley.
And I see who comes to the folk festivals. There's definitely still those teenagers that come with their parents, and then there's the college crowd of early 20-somethings that come alone. And I know, and I can look at them and I know that besides the folk music and all of this, I know they listen to hip hop. I know that they like these other things. So there's already this built-in crowd that was and we had so many kids coming up through us over the weekend, just being like, oh my God, and really exciting that here was something that, spoke to them.
And then it's been a word of mouth thing, so it's been wonderful to see how now we're loaded with teens, and it's another thing I'm just so pleased with, is to now we have almost every age group well represented.
Is this your first Flurry?
It's my first.
Your first?
Yeah.
And you two know?
No, we've been coming for a long time.
And since when? How many years? How old were you when you came first?
I don't even remember. Young, like 8, 7.
What brought you here the first time?
My parents.
Yeah.
They used to go.
Just friends.
Yeah.
And how'd you come this time?
Well, they were going.
Yeah.
Part of the teenagers starting to come to the Flurry wasn't just me bringing in the Vanover Caravan and the swing dancing. Part of it is the ones that grew up with the Flurry.
Because I like dancing.
What kind of dance do you like?
Pretty much every dance. Like I had dancing in 7th and 8th grade. I'm
gonna go salsa.
Oh yeah, tonight. Salsa party.
And tango. We wanna land the tango.
Really? We're doing the tango? Okay. I already know the tango.
I just can't believe every year we come up with something new, and it just happens. Things fall into my lap, and I keep thinking, how are we ever going to outdo this year? And we continue to outdo the year before. It's quite a challenge.
I like sitting and listening to the sea shanties. That group was fun because they also sort of acted out some of the songs. So it was like watching a musical play at times. There's a good variety. I like to go to like some of the fiddle styles workshops.
We had actually a lot of new offerings that were not necessarily big names or high profile. The newest person we had is the oldest person we've ever had, Frankie Manning, at age 89. Bringing him in, we've never had such a big name coming into the Flurry to teach dance workshops.
It was something to stop in and watch Frankie Manning, who's a big name, and Lindy Hop, and actually see this person who's been at this for many years and is a person who's kept this kind of stuff, traditional dance and things going, and still at almost 90 doing it. I want to still be doing things at that age.
I loved listening to Frankie Manning talk. I think it's fabulous that he's here, and I'm really glad thinking about when my parents were born and when my grandparents were born and putting him in this context, and he's like a national treasure.
75 cents color chart to see Lena Horne, Bill Bojangles Robinson, Cab Calloway, 3 big stars. How much would you have to pay nowadays to see one star?
You had the opportunity to be a star, be one. Stars that don't shine ain't stars.
About the Savoy Ballroom and about different bands and people like Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway. We spoke about those people who happened to come from my era.
And so I got to take a workshop with him yesterday, Shim Sham, and I'm not a big swing dancer at all. I'm mostly a contra dancer, but I just went to it because I gotta take a class from Frankie Manning while I'm here. And then
You know what's so funny? When I was a youngster, I was like in my 20s, and I used to go dancing, like every night. Every chance I got, I would dance. So, I had the feeling that I was gonna just, like dance my life away, really. That's the way I felt when I was a youngster. I say, man, I'll be lucky if I make 35. I hope I can make 35. Because I didn't think I would make it, because I was just dancing all the time. But when I reached 35, I said, wow, I made it. Then I got to be 36. And everything from there been just floating for me. That's my life, just floating. It's like, oh wow.
Dance has been my life, darling. I usually said that if I wasn't dancing, I don't think I would live to be the age that I am. And I think you already know how old I am, right?
Yeah, every year I love having some new piece of the Flurry that's different. You know, we always do a lot of contra dancing while we're here, but that was a great piece for me this year, was just being inspired and just being sort of amazed by this person.
When I grew up, there was music all around me. And wherever there's music, I mean, if you're around music all the time and you don't dance, there must be something wrong with you.
But we had a new venue this year, Cafe Lena, and that was very exciting. They're America's oldest coffee house. We used them all day Saturday and Sunday during the daytime hours. And it worked out very well. And we had some very interesting performances there. So two of the new performances happened on Sunday afternoon, one of which was called Journeys to Freedom, and it was sort of a modern dance theatrical piece about one girl's journey on the Underground Railroad. And that was fabulous. It was a wonderful production.
Well, I'm a contra dance caller, so therefore I enjoy the contras, but I like the opportunity to do dances that I don't get, like to do some English, which I don't really get to do. Some Scottish, not so much anymore. The calves won't take it. You can't do that once a year. But I tried a little African, some French Canadian, some salsa, tango. Fell in love with tango. So I just like to sample everything. It's wonderful, yeah.
Earlier on, I went down to the Canfield Casino, which, if you've never been there, it's got the most beautiful stained glass windows, and the ceiling is just amazing. So I spent half of the time looking up and the other half watching the dance lessons. It was a ragtime music and some ragtime lessons.
Also on Sunday, we had something that we've never had before. We had David Greenberger performing with Jupiter Circle. Now, we've had Jupiter Circle over the years, and they're a fabulous local group playing some very, very interesting music. They have blended with David Greenberger to where he tells stories of elderly folks who he's interviewed in nursing homes, tells their true stories in their words to this music. And it was absolutely wonderful. So you couldn't have fit any more people at Cafe Lena for that performance. And it shows that the Flurry is a lot more than just dancing.
This one time, he was walking home, he was crossing the street, he had one foot on the curbstone, and an auto hit him. Hit him and left him there. I found him on the front steps. They came and picked him up and took him to Strong Hospital in East Boston. It's not there anymore. He had a broken hip and a fractured skull, and he died. They got the guy that did it to him. The guy came to me and said, I don't want to lose my license. He gave me a sad story, and I said to him, well, why'd you leave him there in the street? Why didn't you take him to the hospital? So I left it up to my brother. He took him to court in East Boston. Of course, that took out on my brother. Took a lot out on my mother. She used to run around the house and call, Ned, Ned. See, his name was Edward, but she called him Ned. She missed him. She was 88. My father was 94. My brother Stanley was a good boy. He was good to his mother and father. He's dead and buried too.
What I was just doing was teaching a form of martial art called Penchak Silat and a form that is called the form of the tiger, or Machan. It's a very circular form. It involves motions which replicate those of the tiger. And one of the things that I like people to understand about martial arts, and this one in particular, is that it's a peaceful way of using your energy. It's not designed for harming someone else, but really for self-conditioning, self-knowledge, and for balance. So this was a particular form that I could do at different levels. People who know nothing or maybe have a little background could do it at their own particular level. And things like the hand motions, like this, the things that replicate the way the natural world, like animals and birds, move, that's also very much a part of this particular form of martial art. And I had people doing some of those things throughout the little workshop that we did.
Down in the corridor, it was wonderful. People who had never played together, had no leader, and they just played wonderful music. Earlier on, we saw the storytelling, the stories in motion.
Monkeys were up singing and dancing and having an absolutely fabulous monkey time, but ate up the tiger soup, did you? Ate up the tiger soup? Well, now I'm going to eat all of you. But just as Tiger was about to pounce on the very first monkey, they scrambled into the trees.
This year we had probably about 750 performers, and of the 750, we actually had contact people for many of the groups where it was maybe 160 to 175 people we had to deal with, which is still a huge amount.
We went to some Zydeco lessons.
Did you dance?
No, we didn't dance yet, but we have danced a little Zydeco last year at the festival.
Right now, this year, I'd say it's the swing and the Lindy Hop, and also the Contras. I'm about to go back to the museum to finish my work shift. And I think there's an African dance group over there this afternoon that I'm looking forward to seeing a piece of that.
It's hard to get through the corridor because of you just want to stop at every venue. The one thing we haven't done yet that I really want to do is go to, there's a drum workshop. And last year we went to that, and it was a very small group, and it was just great.
I was part of a drumming workshop yesterday using Native American drumming and dance, and later this afternoon I'll be doing an Adirondack storytelling and music workshop along with John Kirk, Trish Miller, Donnie Woodcock, and Bill Smith, all good friends of mine.
Well, the classes at the Flurry are what I call an open class for everybody, but it's tons of fun at the class. What I try to do with the dance flurries is just give people a taste of dance in conjunction with the music so that they can really have a good time. I'm not really worried about the choreography and if they get it. I want them to feel the spirit of the drums to inspire them to dance. The dance that I was teaching at the flurries this year was it's called Water Dance. And it's coming out of a feeling of women and men having different responsibilities of building their communities and helping their family. It had a male part as well as a female part, and perfect for dance flurries because we really get a lot of men out in dance flurries. That's not normal in the average class, but dance flurries is fun.
We love the ideas that come in, and there's so many amazing ideas and so few slots to put them in. And I'm not good at telling performers, sorry, we couldn't accept your suggestion.
There were a few kids that I taught, just a lot of kids whose parents brought them to the festival, and they brought their instruments so that they could go to a workshop.
I've been coming for many years, this is my first time teaching after quite a few years. I taught Eskimo dancing the last time I was here for the Flurry Festival. People were wonderful. It's just been a real energetic crowd. Everybody's willing to try, so it's been fun.
Watching and listening to the Emma Willard dance troupe from Troy. They were wonderful. They did a wonderful presentation. The music and the dance was just great.
Alex tour usually has his band one night. Some big ballroom space somewhere have gone and stayed all night and danced to that music and watched them do the dance lessons. Lots of fun. Sometimes I have some of the dance students that come up with us. The year I stayed for Alex, I had some students stay with us. We just hung out and danced. A lot of fun, a lot of families.
I perform in the individual fiddle workshops, showing different styles because I can play old-timey fiddle and I also play swing and jazz violin. So I usually demonstrate those different styles to people and give them advice on how to get the sound that they might want. And I also perform in bands. I performed in a quartet that played for a beginner swing dance workshop, and that's really fun. We just wait until they're ready to try their new steps, and then we play a tune for them, and that's really, really fun to see them learning how to dance.
And what do you like doing?
I like the Latin dance classes, really, and swing.
My regular swing band, it's like a 6-piece band with horns, and we play for swing dance, usually some course during the weekend.
We have to change our location, but in the long run, the way the festival continues to grow, I think we're going to need a new location anyway in the next year or two.
To keep the variety, I just look forward to learning more music, different styles that come in, branching this out to people who, when you tell them about dance Flurry, say, oh, I don't dance. Drawing them in.
As much as I want to promote dance and dance changed my life, we have so many people who think the dance Flurry is only for dancing and for dancers.
What would I like to see? I'd like to see it not get any bigger. I might like to see it get a little bit smaller, actually, I guess, to be perfectly honest with you.
Some of my dreams that I've had for years is to have more swing workshops, because we have a lot of demand for that. And yes, maybe some more advanced workshops. I would like to see the Flurry be something for absolutely everybody. It's amazing. We have some years that we're just way behind and barely get anything together, and it's something about the participants who come to the event. Their spirit comes in, and even if we're all disorganized, the event comes together. Just people, the participants want it to happen, and they all are ready for a good time, and they'll make it happen.
Because you have younger and younger generations coming in. If you were there this year, you saw the numbers of young people, teenagers, who usually, they don't want to do anything their parents are doing. Teenagers, the little ones, some of whom were dancing in utero. So you have to foster the new generations coming along, and I think the Flurry will go on forever. I hope so.
I'd like to see it be more inclusive of more people without becoming dumbed down or made homogeneous. You know, that's a real... How do you do that?
It's going to take money. It's going to take more fundraising and more volunteers, more people willing to take on bigger duties. We need people to take major responsibilities in the Flurry, and we need maybe some corporate support. It's an amazing festival, and it deserves to be grant funded. And we do get funding from New York State Council on the Arts, a little bit of funding, but we really should be getting a lot more. If I do say so myself, we are very deserving of being a lot better funded. And I also feel like we don't pay performers nearly what they're worth. It's a very important cultural and arts event, and it just makes people happy and enjoy each other and appreciate what we've got in the arts scene. Appreciate local artists and local arts facilities and local arts organizations. So, and that's very important to me, and I'm sure it's very important to the community. It was quite a job to get teenagers in there, and we're going to try to bring in a lot more diversity of ethnicities, racial diversity, socioeconomic, all classes. I want across the board. I want all sorts of folks to come to the Flurry.
And next year we would, hopefully like to have, at least an hour's worth of different hip-hop contra dances.
That every time somebody tries some new rhythm, it's going to have an effect on the way people dance. And so when somebody starts doing something really wild, the dancers start wriggling and gyrating all over the place. It's not really great contra dancing as I know and love it right at that instant. But a month later, if they've been doing the same thing, they'll probably incorporate it.
At some point I want to do some sort of training workshop and gather some contra dance callers together and some MCs together and have like a day or two just sort of cross-pollinating thing and exploring each other's skills.
To see the new kids getting more and more involved.
Because it's not just about dance. It is about the music, about the traditions, and in keeping this going, just seeing the way the world goes and all, continuing the traditions, this kind of culture.
We had special workshops where we brought older and younger musicians together, and I still try to do that every year. What I do is I hire older musicians, as old as I can find, especially people like Bob McQuillan, who's in his 80s, and I bring in lots and lots of teenagers and lots of middle-aged performers, and a lot of musicians are getting older now. A lot of them are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and to me it's very, very important for those people to pass on what they have learned onto the younger ones, and it's one of the most exciting things when I think about it.
I like seeing people out dancing, communicating with each other. I like to see their kids know that learning that music doesn't just come off a CD or a radio, so I think it's very worthwhile and important for our culture.
But I really enjoy seeing people enjoying themselves, and that's one of the reasons I keep organizing the Flurry, is that I like to see people enjoying the festival, enjoying each other, enjoying live music, enjoying the carrying on traditions, creating new traditions, writing new music, playing music together, creating a better world. And it's and if I get to do a few dances, it's a bonus. I feel it's one of the most important things I'm doing, is facilitating the passing down of the tradition from the older folks to the younger ones. And it's just such a great feeling to see them actually together playing music.
Oh, it's part of our heritage. If you look at some of the music and dance today, and I'm not being critical, but someone has to preserve what had been and is still going in so many places. It's history. It's a very important part of history. And as far as cultural heritage, a lot of our cultural heritage, I feel, has been lost. But here is something that families can do together. What more can you ask? Yeah, and it came with the settlers, and it's still happening, and it should be preserved. Yeah.
I'm one of these people that grew up in the 60s, and I was at the right age in the 1960s to be inspired by idealists. I want to see the world come together, and it's got to start right here, locally, in order for us to bring the rest of the world into harmony.